If you're a singer working with a producer, you're putting a lot of trust in the decisions that they're making on your song. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 things you need to watch out for when you have a producer working on your music. If your producer makes these mistakes, it can lead to cluttering your song, making it sound unfocused and distracting from the most important part, which is you, the singer, the lead part of the song. When a producer makes an instrumental for an artist, the key is to give enough room for the vocals to shine through. The trick is making sure that the instruments and the melodies and stuff support the song, give it structure, but don't overcrowd the mix and take away from the main focus. It's all about setting up the singer to really hit home with their vocal performance. So it's important to leave enough room in 2 ways. The first is melodically. The second is leaving enough room in the frequencies. So I have this track I'm working on here, and I decided to put a really busy melody on it so you can see how it would distract from a singer trying to fit in there. So over here, this is way too busy. There's just a lot going on. But over here, I simplified it a lot so that the singer can really have enough room to shine through. So a few examples of songs that would be really simple, almost too simple, without the vocals would be Kiss Me More by Doja Cat, Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, and another example that comes to mind for me, I love electronic music, so there's an album by this group called Odessa, and they actually released all of the instrumentals from the album years ago, and when you listen to these, you could tell how incredibly simple these productions are. There's very little in the way of lead melodies overcrowding the track because the point of the song was to have the vocals drive the song. The singer needs to have melodic breathing room, and whenever I produce for a singer, I always want to make sure that I'm not hogging the limelight, so to speak. And if I get the vocals back and I'm the one mixing the song, if I add anything else, I try to really weave these melodies and extra additions around the vocals so that I'm not overcrowding it. So the next mistake, no texture to make it interesting. So while it's true that your producer should be creating an instrumental that supports your vocals and doesn't distract, while they should not be crowding the mix with too many melodic elements, they should be adding some things to keep it engaging and interesting so that you want to listen throughout the whole track. This can be done with adding textures, adding extra percussion, syncopation to the beat, all that kind of stuff to add something that is interesting and give it some flavor. So here I have something that's very functional, but it's too basic. So yes, that would work. A singer can sing on top of that, but it's pretty boring and it's pretty drab. So what can a producer do to make it more interesting? The first simple thing they can do is add some sort of rhythm to it. Here I added some rolls to the piano lines. That's one thing you can do that's really simple and doesn't even require you to add any extra instruments. But I took it a step further, spent a few minutes on this, and I added some more texture, and here's what we got. So I added a couple cool syncopated rhythmic kind of lines. Then I added a synth here for some electronic flavor. A little bass, and then I added some textures to the drums. So here's what we get with that. So this production is still very basic, but it has a lot of little ear candy. This one actually probably has too much, but I wanted to demonstrate the fact that your producer should be adding things that are engaging to the listener, kind of like ear candy, and it just makes you want to keep listening to the song. So while this here is really basic in a melodic sense, rhythmically it's very complex. This is why when I'm working with a singer, I'm often layering instruments so that I'm keeping the same melodic parts, but I'm stacking the textures to get more of a unique feel to the song. And the third mistake, no dynamics. So a producer should be able to create dynamics in the song by adding and removing things throughout, depending on the section. Just think of it like different scenes in a movie. Each one has its own energy and its own essence, but they all fit together to tell the story. This helps the singer to convey the emotion of the track as they intended it to. So I'm going to show you this track here, and I'm going to show you how a very subtle difference can make a big impact and define the sections much better, ultimately to convey the emotions of the song better. And when we're talking about dynamics, the goal is for the singer to be able to listen to the song and can tell quickly where the different sections are of the track. Which is a verse, which is a chorus, which is a bridge that is really creating tension, all those kinds of things. It shouldn't be all up to the singer. The production has to have a hand at this as well. So here we have this little track, and it is very samey throughout the entire thing. We have section 1 and section 2, and the only difference is that the drums are just dropping out a bit in section 2. I just feel like it's not enough of a difference. So let's listen to that very minor change. So it sounds nice, but I feel like the guitar melody is just droning on, and I feel like if we were to just take that out in the second section, it will create some more dynamics, and it will help to tell the story of the song a little bit more. Alright, so over here, we have a new version of it, and we have the same section 1, but the section 2 is just a little bit different. So let's hear how this sounds, and we'll dissect it. So I feel like those two sections sound a lot more unique, and by eliminating some of the repetition, we help to create an experience that is a little more engaging for the listener. So all I did to make this happen was I dropped the piano from the chords to just bass notes, and then I added a couple of pads to replace those piano chords. Then the guitar, instead of having that droning riff, and when it comes to the guitar, you know, back to the last point we were talking about, I feel like the guitar, if it went on and on and on like that, it would be a little distracting to any vocal melody that the singer would want to add to the song. So what I did was I took it from that do 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 do, and I just took it down to this little bit of a syncopated, muted rhythm. So here it's going to go from section 1 to section 2. So the guitar is still there, but it's much more basic. And I hope to butter the transition between the two sections by adding some clap effects. This helps it feel a little less blocky, like here's section 1 and here's section 2 that are, you know, forced together with Elmer's glue. Then we just have some simple percussion going through as well. So by taking the main section we had that was just looping on and on and on and just droning forever, we did some very small changes, but we created a whole new section that I feel like has a different energy. So singers, if you feel like your producer is creating these samey, repetitive beats for you, have a talk with them about dynamics and how you can increase the variation throughout the track. So 3 things your producer should be doing to make your track the best it can be. 1, leaving enough melodic room, adding texture to make it interesting, and creating dynamics throughout the track. So when I'm producing for singers, I'm always trying to make sure that I have these things in place and making sure that the song has equal contributions from the singer and the producer. It's not too heavy-handed one way or another. When you do this right, it feels like a perfect collaboration and you feel like you both have a voice in the project. That's a really important part of the collaborative process. The goal is to always create a track where the singer is the star of the show. I'm always trying to make my productions singer friendly by doing these 3 important things. And if you're a self-recording singer and you're looking to create the best vocal recordings you possibly can, go check out my free guide called Stacks on Stacks. I've never seen all this helpful information put together in one place like the guide I created, so I really recommend you go check it out. It's free and I think it's really helpful. And if you're looking for production on your next song, go check out my website at One Channel Productions. I specialize in working with solo artists and I'd love to be able to give your track the production it needs. Thoughtful, carefully crafted production that fits the needs of your song. Listen to some of my demos and send me a message if you're interested. I'd love to chat with you soon.